Hi folks, I'm Craig Taylor, and as always a huge thanks for joining me here on my YouTube channel, The Bushcraft Padawan. Regular viewers and subscribers will know that I like to get out for at least one full day every month into the woods doing bushcrafty type things. And this video is October's Bushcraft All Dayer. When I come out into the woods, I always like to have a plan in mind. I want to have a list of things that I want to try for the first time, or refine or revisit. And this month's no exception. In no particular order, I want to revisit some of my previous miserable attempts at using the brown bag water filter. I think I've got a process in mind now. I think I've got a way, the sun's in my eyes there. I think I've got a way of doing this. I think I've seen what the problem is on previous attempts, so I want to revisit that. I also want to start a fire using a spark from my ferro rod onto Daldinia Concentrica, King Alfred's cakes, cramp balls, and also use some dead dry ferns as the tinder source. Once that's going, I want to make a simple one pot meal. It's a nice meal that I enjoy having out in the woods, very simple to make, so I want to show you how I do that. I'd like to make an adjustable pot hanger today, practice some more finer carving skills, and if time allows, I want to steal an idea that I've seen elsewhere on YouTube. I want to put together, using a simple rectangle of material, a bushcraft chair, for want of a better phrase. In my old age, I'm fed up of sitting on the ground or on my day sack or being all hunched up. I'd like to have something a little bit more comfortable for my weary bones. So those are the things that I want to look at today. Let's see how I get on. So here I am, folks, at the fragrant smelling watering hole. The noise you can hear in the background is my Labrador Willow, who is not happy that I've tied her to a tree. You can imagine what's going to happen if I try and record a video here by this pond with hair off the lead. It's going to be a nightmare. So she's tied up for the moment. I'm going to use my brown bag now to filter some of this water from here. It is soaking wet. I've submerged it, I've soaked it. I even kept it in water as I was driving here today to eliminate that factor. Here's where I think I went wrong last time. I used the bag and scooped the water out of the pond with this bag. While I was doing that, I was clearly agitating the water a lot, and I was probably getting a lot of debris into the bag. Now that's what it's for, it's to filter that debris out, and it did its job. It just took a bloody long time to do it. So I'm thinking this time I'm going to use my metal mug to skim the water off and pour it into here. So this isn't going to go anywhere near the water. Yes, of course there'll still be some debris in this, but I'm hoping because this is a gentler action that I'll agitate less of that debris. There'll be less in here, it will filter quicker. Now I'm going to drink out of this later, so clearly there's a contamination problem here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invert this over the flames once I get my fire going to sterilise it, and of course the inside will be sterilised anyway via the rolling boil that I'll achieve. So let me, there she is, right on cue. So let me start scooping some water out, let me get it into here, and then as I did in the last video, I'm not going to stand on ceremony, I'm going to get it straight back over to my my camp area so that I can start the water flowing and filtering. Here we go. For those of you who are watching this and thinking, go on Craig, just lean a little more, just lean out a little further, just a little bit more. You're cruel. So this bag is absolutely top as now. It's not a good background noise, is it? This bag is absolutely top as now, so I'm going to rush over to my camp area, let it filter down again to the stitch line, the safe filter line, then I can start collecting the water off of that. Third time lucky, keep your fingers crossed for me. Here's the first part of my adjustable pot hanger created. I've got a length of wood. You can see the tick there at the end of it. Over that will go my pot handle, so you can imagine where my hand is now is where my pot will be hanging. And then making the way up the stick, you notice I've carved in these, hopefully that's focusing well. I've carved in one notch there and one notch there, a beak. And then what I will do, I'll just stand back slightly, is I will have a piece of wood, which I'll show you very shortly, that will be driven into the ground at an angle, and that beak will hang off that piece of wood. And if I wish to adjust it, the wood stays in the ground. Now clearly that's flapping about a bit because there's no weight on the end of it, but you can imagine, and you will see in a few minutes time, with some weight on the end of that, it's a nice, quick, easily adjustable pot hanger. Let's get on with the rest of it. Although it only seems like literally a few seconds since you last saw me on camera, because it was, in reality it's been a good couple of hours. Been very, very busy wanting to get things done and show you the finished product rather than necessarily keep stopping, filming, restarting, stopping, filming, restarting. So I've done something a bit different this month, is I've kind of jumped to the end product, or the almost end product. So it's been probably about an hour and a half or so since I last came on camera. Let me show you what I've been up to. I'm still filtering that damn water. Let me have a look how much we've got. I'd probably say I don't yet, well, I've probably got a black metal mug full, and it's been an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, about an hour and 40 minutes. There's clearly something wrong, either with the brown bag, but they wouldn't be as successful as they were if they weren't any good, or my technique with using them. I can't do anything more than stick to the instructions that are on the bag, or the water that I'm, or the pond that I'm collecting it from is so full of debris. Even when I was scooping it with my mug, there was no large chunks floating in there, and if they were, I took them out, but the water itself, you could just see the tiny particles, and obviously when that all congests at the bottom of the bag here, that's going to slow things down. So I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I don't think the bag is at fault. I simply think that my water source is so dirty and has such small pieces of debris and dirt in there that when it comes to filtering, it is just going to take a long time. So, oh, there we go, just enter stage left. She's been keeping me on my toes. What else have I been up to? Well, I've finished the adjustable pot hanger that you can see there. I've got my black metal mug hanging off it at the moment, just so you can see how that would work. I just get myself in shot. The pot is very close to the fire. The pot is slightly higher, hands free. And the pot is even higher again. So those three settings there for my adjustable pot hanger. What else have I been up to? I think you're going to like this. Take a look at this. I've made myself a chair. Look at that bad boy there. Let me pack my ass in it. There we go. Yes, I've made myself a chair. It's nothing more than a tripod, a cross member on the back of my thighs, behind my knees, back of my thighs. You can see it as well. And a piece of rectangular fabric with a channel, a loop at one end for the cross member to go in, and a very small loop at the other end for me to put some. She's just stealing my hearth here from my fire. Leave it, Willow. Leave it. Come back here. And a simple paracord loop at the top to suspend it at my head height here. I've enjoyed making this. It was about 15 times the length of this originally. I was perched up with my legs dangling in the air, but surely but surely, trimming down each leg at a time, it's got it to a nice comfortable position now. I'm going to make a video in the future on how I actually made this and the fabric that I used and so on. And I even think that if I can persuade the long-haired colonel indoors to dig out the sewing machine, I may even create some of these chairs and sell them on eBay if anybody's interested in experimenting for themselves. So yeah, catch me back in a few minutes time when I'll have the fire going and I'll take you through that one pot meal that I discussed earlier on. And then you can sit and watch me sit in the lap of luxury and film my face. I'll be pestered by the dog, no doubt. Right, let's get this fire going. I've got a Daldinia Concentrica, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video here. I've just sliced it in half because I don't think there's going to be any need to use the whole thing. I've got my new ferro rod here from Jamie at Bushcraft. Thanks, Jamie. Let's drop a spark onto here and let's get this blown into flame. Fingers crossed. So the great thing about using this is there isn't necessarily the rush to start piling your kindling or tinder and kindling on top of this because it's such slow burning. You can imagine if that was silver birch shavings, it would have disappeared by now and I've had to be very quick, but you notice with this I've got a little bit more luxury. So I'm going to pop that in there. Got those dried ferns I mentioned earlier on. Gather it round and see if we can get this blown into flame. You know what, I'm starting to go light-headed here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera because that's still going to carry on smouldering away there very nicely. I'm going to adjust the camera and I'm just going to hold it and waft it because it's so long burning that I'm figuring if I just keep blowing into it I'm going to hyperventilate and fall over and burst into flames. We'll get a fire one way or the other, but I'm thinking if I just pick the ferns up and waft them, get the air circulating into them like that. Let's see if that works. I've never tried that. Be interesting. So, Daldinia Concentrica is still smouldering. As you can see there. Let's try this theory out, see if it works. What do I look like to any passerby? Well, this is interesting, folks. This is interesting. It's not working. And I was sure it would. Of all the things I was doing today, I thought to myself, this is the safe bet. Because I know Daldinia Concentrica takes a spark very easily. I know it smoulders for a long time. I know that this time of year there's going to be a lot of dead and dry ferns knocking about, and there are all of those things. Just can't get them to come together. Stick with me. Luckily while I'm doing this the dog is stealing all the branches and twigs that I've got for the fire, so that's not going to be a problem, is it? my head crackling. Did I see a flame then? Whilst I'm bringing that filtered water to a rolling boil for a minimum of 2 minutes, let me just talk you through this one pot meal that I enjoy making outside. So all I've got here is a normal bog standard Ziploc bag. In here I've got 2 decent handfuls of pasta, dried pasta. I've also got a couple of decent handfuls of cooked chicken. It was simply taken off a roast chicken that we ate for tea yesterday evening, and I've got a handful of mushrooms. This is so simple, it's unbelievable. All I'm going to do is bring that water to a boil. I'm going to drop the pasta into that water and maintain the boil / simmer for about 10 minutes. In other words, I'm going to cook the pasta. Once the pasta's cooked, I'm going to add in a sachet of cuppa soup, because let's be perfectly honest, what is cuppa soup other than a sauce? So I'm going to drop that into there, and I'm going to let that constitute with the pasta and the water that's in there. It's a chicken and vegetable flavour. So I've now got pasta with a chicken and vegetable sauce. I'm then going to add in the cooked chicken and the mushrooms. All I'm going to do is leave them in there for 2 or 3 minutes just to warm them through. And at the end of it, we've got chicken, pasta, mushroom with a chicken and vegetable sauce. It's so simple to make, it's unbelievable. It all cooks in one pot. You can bring the whole thing out in one Ziploc bag like I've done there. It takes up next to no space, and in a normal 14 or 16 centimetre zebra billy can, you can quite easily fit 2, possibly 3 of these ready meals, for want of a better word, in there with a little bit of room still to spare. So a good few days of decent meals, all in a Ziploc bag. My one pot meal. To hell with it, I'm throwing the whole lot in for a very good reason. I couldn't be bothered picking the pasta out of there, so I've mixed the whole damn thing in there. With a wee mix up with my new wooden spoon carved by yours truly. Quite pleased with that. Sauce is going in, or the cuppa soup to you and I. And now get that back over the fire for that pasta to cook off and it to thicken up a little bit. Well, here we are. The proof is in the chicken, pasta and mushroom one pot meal, as they say. See what it tastes like. I know what it tastes like. It tastes like chicken, mushroom and pasta in a pot. Yep, I can confirm that is what it tastes like. Like I said a few seconds ago, it's a really, really simple meal to cook. You can package it all up in, I'm just about to watch the dog's tail go up in flames if he gets any backside any closer to the fire. That'll be fun. Yeah, you've realised, haven't you? Where was I? It's a really simple meal to cook. All condenses down into a simple Ziploc bag. You can carry lots of them. There's plenty of carbohydrate and protein and all of that other good stuff that some people worry about packed into there. It's filling, it's quick to cook. It's not quick to filter the water to cook it, that's another matter. But if you're carrying your water with you, then very, very simple to cook indeed. Not bad at all. And yes, for anybody that's watching thinking, is he going to give the dog any? Will he give her any? I will give her some at the end, I promise. Not a lot, because she's on 2 meals a day now, breakfast and evening meal. But I'll sneak a little something into my Billy canning set for her once it's cooled down. No worries. Well, shall we try that again? Here I am at the end of another one of my monthly all-dayers. Really enjoyed today. It's the middle of October, 19th of October, and I'm still in a t-shirt and I've still not felt the temperature at all. Very, very mild still late into October. Let's have a look at what I've covered off then. The pot hanger, which I think you can just see in shot here, worked very, very well indeed. Very pleased with that. I'm very pleased that I remembered the notches and the beaks and which side of the tick to carve them on. It's the same side as the tick, so pleased about that. One pot meal went well, as it always does. That bloody brown bag, what I need to do is I need to get myself into an area that has some clean, and I use the word clean loosely, but some debris free water that needs filtering, because the stuff that I'm filtering now is very heavy with dirt, and it's not, I don't think it's showing the bag up in the best light, because clearly the bag is doing its job, it's filtering it out, but of course that's slowing the water rate down. So maybe I've got unfair, in fact it's an unfair expectation on the bag, of course, isn't it? What else have we got on with? And of course the chair itself, enjoyed making this. A few things I'm going to change in the future. I'm going to make the tripod higher. It was originally about another foot to 2 foot longer, the main uprights, than it was now, but my legs were dangling in the air. What I realised I should have done, and I didn't have enough cordage on me, was instead of keeping the top of it tethered right at the top of the apex, I should have lengthened the amount of cordage that I was using. Can you actually see me there through the smoke? I should have lengthened the amount of cordage that I was using to drop the top of it further down. That way I wouldn't have had to lose any height. And as you can see at the moment, when I sit back, these uprights are in the way of my massive shoulders. So I have to kind of weave myself in, and then when I want to get out, I have to weave myself back out again. Trust me, it's not the end of the world, and it's a damn sight more comfortable and relaxing than sitting on my day sack or on the floor. Just next time I come out and I actually make the video on how I made this, I'm going to use new timbers and new uprights, start from scratch and learn a lesson from today, which of course what all this is about, isn't it? Thank you as always for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. Share it wherever it is that you share these sorts of things. If you're not yet a subscriber, you'll have noticed throughout the video now there's been a subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen as you're looking at it. Thank you as always for watching, really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Cheers.